All right, we're live here with the beautiful, fiery Deborah Kagan,
Hello, my dear. Oh my
old
God.
friend and colleague, and we're going to get undressed tonight.
Yes, we are. So grateful that you have invited me on and that we are here to talk. As always, it's truly a pleasure.
That's what life's all about, right? Being pleasurable. There's so
Well,
many things that are not pleasurable. Why aren't we living our greatest life and living? I was talking earlier about we need to like design your life so it's like you're on vacation. Do the things that you do when you're on vacation every single day. Go for a walk on the beach, have the coffee you want, eat the special
mhm,
meal, use
mhm.
the cool body lotion, the sex fragrances that you're saving for whatever.
Yep. Wear the fun dress, wear the fun shoes.
Yes,
Hmm. All of those things. I'm in agreement. This is very much going to be a yes, same, same.
same, same.
It's true. I mean, this whole idea that we deny ourselves pleasure is, as you know, it's just so sad that this is what's become ingrained in most of our societies, and that what is valued at a higher level and a higher tier is, the grind and the work and the um, uh, yeah, those pieces where it's like push and hustle. And the thing that's interesting is, some people have said to me over the time, well, I actually get pleasure from work. Great. Like that's the ideal. So I'm in agreement with you about creating a pleasureful life, right?
Yes.
Pleasureful life. Yeah. Yeah. What do I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to see it tomorrow night. Have you seen the Barbie movie?
I'm going Wednesday.
All right. So I feel like we're going to need to chat about that afterwards because
Oh, I am a Barbie girl
yeah,
from I love them. My bedroom is decorated with Barbie.
yeah.
I have my mom's original. I have Barbie number 2 and Barbie number 3.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I'm a big fan.
So interesting. There's actually a part in the introduction of the book, and so thank you for inviting me to your community. And so, hi everybody. I'm really glad to connect with you. The Tiffany knows I have a new book that has just been released. You can pre-order it now, and it's called Undressed, and it's an invitation to claim your erotic nature. And actually, in the introduction, which when you do pre-order, there are super special bonuses that I created. So you'll want to, I think this is on multiple platforms right now, but if it's LinkedIn, if it's Facebook, you can go to my profile for sure, Deborah Kagan, and you'll see the link to be able to get your goodies. So my point is about the Barbie is in the introduction, I actually share about a little of my experience growing up with Barbie and how that does relate to claiming erotic nature. And one of the bonuses when you pre-order is you get a VIP audio where I read you and I narrate the beginning of the book. So you don't actually have to wait. You can start to get into the book right away.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And I'm so excited to see the film because first of all, I just saw that it was the highest grossing film ever for a female director. Fantastic. Way overdue, right?
Yes.
So exciting. And I hear it brings up a lot of interesting themes. So anyhow, very
Did you
excited.
have a favorite Barbie?
What's funny? I don't remember the specific names. I mean, I knew I wanted that dream house. I mean, we all wanted the dream house.
Yes, I
Um,
wanted that A-frame 1970s dream
Oof,
house. We
yeah.
found it in my attic after I left for college. That the previous owners of the house had left it there, and I was like, "The dream house I always wanted."
Oh my gosh, hilarious. Yeah. I remember getting it I don't remember if it was my birthday one year or if it was a holiday time, but there was a big kind of brouhaha in the house of putting it together, which turned into an argument. Anyway, the drama around that. hmm But there was a lot of Barbies and Ken in my closet. I'll leave it at that, and then you can read the rest of it in the book or hear it in that
Yes, I
bonus.
want to definitely hear that story.
Yeah, yeah. So it's pretty exciting.
So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about you and how you got on your undressed journey for erotic
Yes. Well, so I'm Deborah Kagan, and I am a speaker, author, and mentor for women, and I help you rock your mojo, which is all about embodiment and confidence and living a turned on life. The thing that I've been so passionate about for decades, and it's been coming out in different ways over these years, is this connection between one's spirit, your soul, and your sensuality, your sexuality, because I believe that they are truly one and the same. And this is a bigger conversation, but this has been something that I've been very interested in for my entire adult life and really have made a career out of. So I had started my work with women out of my living room. It was a women's group, and I'm sure I can say some language. I can use some language. Okay. It was called at the time. I said, "Oh, I'm going to start this women's group and call it the Pussy Power Posse." But 16 plus years ago, it wasn't as welcomed of a word and that name. And so anyhow, it got transitioned into the Rock Your Mojo brand. And then I always wanted to get back to the essence and the root of that conversation, where we were in the living room talking about our spirits and our sex and our bodies and intimate relating. And that's then what really turned into my podcast, The Real Undressed. And so that was launched a number of years ago now, a little over 3 years. Tiffany has been a fabulous guest on it, so you can check out her episode. And, it felt really good to be able to get that conversation out in the world. Now, I'm jumping around a little bit, but the Undressed book was something that I've been kicking around for almost a decade. But again, I think it was a little ahead of its time. And I just feel like this is, to me, one of those moments of spirit, of our higher self, of how everything really does happen exactly the way it needs to happen. That this book, and the publisher reached out to me, and will reach out to my agent, and then reached out to me last summer. And it happened very quickly. The book, just went through the channels of getting out in the world quite quickly. And I think it's because we're ready now. Not only are we as a culture and a society ready for this conversation more than ever, I realized, wow, I'm ready to be the woman who really does stand behind this book in a different way that wouldn't have been bad 10 years ago. It's just so much better now, right? And I'd love to just share a little of the structure of the book as well to give it some more context.
Yeah, please do. Absolutely.
So within that context, the book is in 7 sections, totally meant to be read however you'd like, whether it's cover to cover or if you want to jump from section to section. And each section is based on one of the 7 power centers of your body, right? So we have these power centers. They each represent different qualities, different parts of our life. And what happens is you'll get an overview to understand the center right from the start of each section. Then you're going to get a little get you in the mood erotic memoir story. And this is an experience that I had with a lover that helped to awaken and really helped to tune me into that particular center. All right. So it's like, I feel like it's an elevated 50 Shades of Grey. Okay. And so there's that to kind of get you in the mood. And then it's your turn. And when I mean your turn, this is where I walk you through practices, a spiritual practice as well as a sexual practice, to be able to explore yourself and awaken that center and become partnered with that center for yourself by yourself. This is all solo practice. Okay. So many women have already said, wait a minute. Do I have to be in a partnership? Do I have to have a lover? Do I have? No. The intention of this book is for you to be able to completely explore yourself on your own time in the safety, the sanctity, the deliciousness of your own space, and to go at your own pace. I do give suggestions if you happen to be partnered in whatever fashion that you can utilize the practices with a partner. It is absolutely not necessary. And I absolutely encourage that you do it at least one time solo, right? So this is the book, and I've had such great feedback from early readers. There was one woman who was having some female troubles and some cysts basically. And this is not, I'm going to say your normal, or your average experience of what I'm about to share. However, she did the practices in the second section, which has to do with our second power center. It's below our navel, above our pubic bone. So it's definitely in our creative, reproductive area. And she went to have her follow-up with her doctor, and they said, we don't need to do that procedure on you that you were scheduled for because these cysts have shrunk. They're not a problem anymore. So I was so excited to hear that. Tiffany, that everything that I teach and where I come from is that everything is energy. Mm-hmm. And so when you allow yourself to move and to shift the energy in your body and for your body and to connect with your body in a way that brings that eros, which is your life force, it brings that alive, and you begin to partner again with it by yourself, for yourself, so many things, including your own vibrancy and health, can totally transform.
Absolutely, especially from that sacral chakra area that is literally life force energy comes from that area. Life is given there. So it's so powerful. And I was talking about orgasmic manifestation earlier on a podcast and how we can just really harness that power and that energy for creativity and for betterment and the things that we really desire in our life, and putting it out into the universe by taking it through the chakra system.
Yes, exactly. So, I know you get it. And that's what this book, it's another avenue to be able to expand yourself and your life in this way. And the thing that, it's so cool because I always say what I teach, it's not rocket science. It's not necessarily things that you haven't heard before. It just happens to be put together in a way that allows you to move with more velocity and with more pleasure.
Yes, there's all the information is out there in the universe. We just distill it down so you can understand it and take what you need for your life.
Exactly. So,
and feel free, if you're on live with us, you can put some questions in the chat. We'll be happy to answer those. If you're watching on a replay, you can also just put the comments and we'll come back and answer them. I'll make sure that we tag Deborah so that you can get all of her information and everything as well.
Excellent. Yeah. In terms of if you want to go check things out, if you're on Facebook, just so you can get your goodies, it is to check out the book and to get those pre-order bonuses. You can go to undressedbook.com/FB for Facebook. And also if you're on LinkedIn, you can do undressedbook.com/LI. So those are ways that you can grab your goodies and get access to them. Because the other thing I put together for everybody is this daily confidence journal. It's like a daily confidence /pleasure journal. And when we it can be really challenging to step in to this way of being. I think what's interesting, I'm going to go on another tangent, but you and I talked about this a little bit not on the podcast, but I think you and I were talking about this kind of pre or post recording when you came in for the Real Undressed. But about how there is still so much stigma and there is so much women bashing women, particularly when you're a woman who does embrace your sensuality and your sexuality. And you're like, yeah, I feel really good about this. How, and it's been a minute since you and I did that podcast recording. How are you finding that these days? Have you seen a shift? Do you feel like it's kind of similar?
I think that it needs to be better. I think that it can improve. I think that women can feel threatened by women who embrace their sexuality because there's so much societal shame against sensuality and being sexual, and that whether it's religion or our family of origin, that so many things come up, but just society in general shames women for being sexual and sensual, even though we use sex to sell everything on the planet. But yet, oh my gosh, if you are sexy and you're putting it out there, then oh my goodness, that's just not proper ladyhood.
Yeah. It's fascinating to me. It really is. And this is something, so I'm curious also for all of you who are watching, I'm really curious about your experience with this. If you are a woman or identify as a woman, if this is something that has been part of your life, I would love for you to put that in the comments and share a little bit, because it's like, it does take all of us. It takes a village. And I think, that's another reason why I'm super excited about this book getting out in the world, so that more women can very consciously claim their erotic nature, feel great about it, and be that example, like be the lighthouse and be the one that says, hey, you know what? Yeah, me too. It's okay. And this feels really good. And I want other women to feel good in this way. And to recognize that there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's actually something to be proud of. I was very committed to, obviously the message of this book and the cover, which I still haven't received my copies yet. So, but I can show you. I can show you the cover. So, oops.
Ooh, yes.
Right. So, what does that remind you of?
It reminds me of a cherub, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you kind of see what she's holding?
Oh, is it apple? Is it like the big leaf? Adam and Eve kind of.
Yes, exactly. And so, it was really, that was this nod to the quote original sin, and how it's, we have been fed a crap narrative since the beginning of time.
Yes.
Right. And it's not okay. It's not
okay, because it's owning your sexuality is owning your power, and it's your birthright to have pleasure and to feel erotic and to feel beautiful. Mm-hmm. And it attracts abundance to you. It attracts business to you. It attracts money, and people want what you have. And so people can, poo-poo it all they want, but it is power, and we all deserve that. And the narrative that men get is not the same, and it's not right. And we have a big problem of the gender wage gap, the pleasure gap, and it's all correlated, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, a lot of, some people have been asking, can men read this book? And I always say, of course men can read this book. You will learn a lot. And you will also be able to uplift, the women that you love when you know this information. So for the men that are watching this or who do see this at some point, this is a great gift to give to the women in your world. Mm-hmm. It's, I've always said it's never like men bad, right? And I know you're
not at all.
You're not saying that either. It's like let's do this together. right? Let's really gather together and uplift this narrative, which has been so stuck in a low vibration for way too long, which is also, by the way, why I think the conversation, and you are so great about curating conversations around pleasure and sensuality and sexuality as well. I think, for me, it is this combination of putting the spirit, your soul, with your sex that is the elevating factor. And you pointed towards it when you're talking about the orgasmic energy and utilizing that in a way of creation and manifestation and visualization, because that tunes you in not only to the act of whatever the sex and the orgasm, but it also really tunes you in so that you are now connected to your higher self, to your soul self. And this is the elevated space that I look forward to for everybody. I look forward to, this is the real sex ed.
But we need some kind of sex ed, because there is none here. So
there's that too.
Tell me a little bit about the journey of writing the book, because getting it done in a year, that's impressive.
Well, you want the inside secret?
Sure.
So I mentioned that I've been kicking this book around for about a decade. And the memoir pieces in the book are all based on experiences that I had through between the years of 2004 and 2008. So I had been keeping journals, and I had, of course, been writing these experiences down. And when I was going back to work on the manuscript, and I looked at all the old journals to get kind of re-inspired and look at the pieces again. And there was a note in the journal, I think it was 2010, that said, I have this idea for this book. And that was the germ of the book. That was the first seed that was planted. So I wrote not every memoir piece, but I had written a really solid first drafts over the course of these last probably like 7 years or so. And I had them, and I had this book proposal, great book proposal. I, had representation at one point, then didn't have representation. And, we had gone out with it to all sorts of publishing houses. And one of the best rejections I got at one point, this was maybe 5 years ago. And the publisher, they were like, "I'm sorry, we're just sexed out right now." I was like, is that possible? So anyhow, so again, I'd been batting it around for a number of years. So by the time that I did get the publishing deal last year, there was a 60% of the manuscript written. And I'm a fairly fast writer when I sit down, but I think like anyone who has written or desires to write, the only way that you get it done is called ass in chair. That's it. You just ass in chair, or maybe you have a stand-up desk, but it is just like, that's it. You have to shut everything else off and just do it. And that was my plan. And I, of course, have this whole other business called, the Rock Your Mojo business, and my mentorship and the podcast and all these things that are simultaneously happening. So I gave myself a mini, I wrote while I was in town, but I also gave myself a pleasurable, self-made, self-created writing excursion, and I went to Europe. And so I was there for 12 days, and my promise to myself was every morning, go find some groovy cafe or some groovy spot, sit down and write for, 5 hours. And then I would have the rest of the day to go tour around and enjoy the evening. But what happened was a lot of cafes in Europe don't let you sit with laptops.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're so much more committed to community and a real like connected culture. So they don't want you sitting there on your laptop. Now, I did find a few over the course of that trip. So what was really fun was I would stay in some, kind of groovy hotels. And at night, I would sit at the bar and I would have a yummy cocktail. There'd be great music because they were just kind of, fun hit places. And I would just sit there and it really got me in the groove. And I would write and write and write and write and write. So that's how the next big chunk of the writing happened. Yeah, and I turned it in, and I love my editor. Shout out to Lydia Stevens at Urano World USA. They are my publishers, by the way, and shout out to them for saying yes to this book and this, really mission in the world. And so Lydia was amazing. She turned around my notes. I mean, so quickly, and and then I worked on the edits, and poof, here's a book. Poof, there you have it. But I will, it's interesting. So that's kind of like the fun part. But I will say, and because again, you've been on my podcast, so I'm quite transparent. However, this is the most vulnerable I've ever been publicly. Like this book, I mean, again, some of the early readers, and a couple of them are my dear, dear friends who are brilliant writers. And they're like, wow, you're really like putting it out there. I was like, I guess I am in a way. And it's not about me. It's in service to what's possible for you ladies, right? It's in service for the transformation that is available. And so some of the memoir pieces, when I was reworking them, were, it was fun, but also challenging to get back into that experience, because again, they did happen a lot earlier in my life. And so to remember the discomfort, the real vulnerability, the lack of confidence at that time, all of those types of concerns was very tender, to tap back into. And then I needed to switch hats, at least for me in the writing process, of writing the your turn sections, right? Because this is where I've got the mentor hat on, and those are really fun to like walk you through all the process and the practices. So it's been an amazing journey.
That reminds me, I used to have a blog when I first started doing online dating and hookups and things like that. And I will have to go back and find those because I was very detailed. I took the blog down years ago, but I will have to go back and find those kind of memoirs as well.
Because I bet those could be great pieces, and you never know, maybe it's a book unto itself.
Yeah, for sure.
And I also, and again, I know you agree with me about this, but it's like the more people, and particularly women, can talk about and share about our experiences, the easier it becomes to drop the shame around your sexuality. So this is why I love, even just in the last year, there are so many different audio erotica companies now.
Yes, there's whole apps that are just audio erotica.
Yeah.
There's one of my colleagues, I speak in her office a lot. She's a chiropractor, and she has gone through the entire library in her area's whole all the audio eroticas. That's all she listens to during the pandemic. And she's like, I'm tapped out. I've gone through them all. I'm like, oh, well, you got to go on this other app now. Get them, because I was telling a client the other day that that's great foreplay, is listening to erotica. Audio erotica can get you in the mood, that it doesn't have to be physical foreplay and touch to get you in the mood, because women, arousal begins in the brain. So it's a very, very, sexy part of our life and our brain and our sensuality.
Yes, exactly.
Feeling into our bodies, of hearing it and accessing those other senses that a lot of times we don't tap into.
Absolutely. And that's actually one of the things that was important to me for the readers of the book. So once you actually do get the book, there's, I put together a whole resource guide with all different, again, places you can go for the audio erotica, for, all sorts of other pleasure tools and things like that. But you, of course, want to go straight to Tiffany. Hello.
Yeah, hopefully you entice me in there to
Darling, yes, I wrote you that in an email. Yes.
All of our body safe curated products that are so good.
Absolutely. Of course. I know you're the resource. What's one of your favorite dildo specifically, not vibrator right now? That you recommend. I'm not saying.
Yes. So for my absolute all-time favorite is the Phallix glass rotary wand. It's golden rotary wand. It has 24 karat gold woven into it, and it has nodules and swirls of glass that give you a really unique texture and feeling. Because it's hard and rigid, you can heat it up, cool it down, so you can do temperature play with it as well. And then it has a juicer top that's just amazing.
Does it have a curved tip?
It does not. It's not curved.
Okay.
But that we do offer ones that are curved. This particular one is not.
Okay. I gotta see this one. I haven't seen this one yet.
It's pretty awesome.
Excellent. Yeah. So that's anyway, there's so much good to talk about. What's something that you're excited about? I know you've got also your pleasure course coming up, right?
Yes, the Pleasure Studio starts next month, and it's all about getting in touch with your sensuality and your sexuality and the mind, body, and vulva connection of orgasms and pleasure. And it's a 12-week course. It's amazing. Everybody that's ever taken it, it's changed their life. So
I love that.
And women that are taking it, they like glow, and it's just amazing. We do different challenges and activities in the privacy of your own home, but that you report back on. But definitely reach out to me in a message if you're interested in learning more about it. It begins the end of August, and we've got some great bonuses going on right now, including over $500 worth of body safe products to use for your sensual life for the rest going forward.
Get those products. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I feel like you can, the toy box can never be big enough.
Right. You just can, we don't eat the same food every day. So why would we want to use the same toys or have the same sex every day? We wear different clothes. We wear different, but exciting. And it's that way to keep that spice in with your self-pleasure and for your partnered sex. And for guys, we don't leave you out. Your hand can get pretty boring after a while. So we've got plenty of men toys.
That's fantastic. I love it. Oh my gosh, Tiffany, this is it's just so good to see you. And it's
so good to see you too. Literally. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience before we tune out for tonight?
I think I shared this with you maybe before we started, but I would love to just invite all of you to take a chance if you feel a little bit nervous, but I would love for you to just take a chance on getting a copy of Undressed, and particularly to pre-order it. Because the thing that I have learned, which I knew about, but I really didn't understand how important it is, pre-orders for authors and for this kind of information is a game changer. And so I actually made up a game that I have no idea how it's going to, get played or be won. And it's only going to happen with you and with your help. And so the game is to sell out the entire first print run of this book, which again I didn't determine, the publisher determined. And I was like, let's sell it out in the pre-order phase. I mean, everything's possible. that's only really going to be possible with you. So I'd love to just invite you, go check it out, undressedbook.com/FB if you're on Facebook, undressedbook.com/LI, I guess, if you're on LinkedIn seeing this. You can go to any of my profiles, send me a DM on whatever platform. I would love to hear from you. And yeah, take a chance on yourself. But really, go ahead and take a chance, because this book, I promise you, it does not disappoint. It will absolutely bring you pleasure on multiple levels. And
Yes.
I don't keep you waiting. So you can listen again to the beginning of the book. I narrate it and read it to you. And I got to tell you, the very first section, it's a total surprise. But I don't think you've heard anything like this before. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, listen, I mean, you have such a sensual and sexy voice anyway. Who wouldn't want to hear that read to them at night? And you're probably going to have to, do the audio book so everybody can listen to the entire thing.
Well, thank you. Yes, that is the plan. That's the plan.
And just like that, Carrie just did her audio book.
That was so funny, that episode, which, I mean, I felt for her, obviously, in terms of that moment. But yes, I was like, that's going to be me soon.
Yes. I have a great connection who does audiobooks if you need that.
Oh, fantastic. Well,
has a whole studio. It's amazing.
I love it. Well, we'll let the publisher know. Urano World, if you're catching this, reach out to Tiffany. So yeah, actually the publisher is based in, they're amazing. They're based in Spain.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, they're the largest Spanish language publisher in the world. And this is Urano World, USA, is their English language imprint. So it's very exciting. I'm really honored to be on their first foray of their English language authors.
Awesome. Are you going to be doing it in Spanish as well?
That's the plan.
Sexy.
So I'm like, this book, to me, this is like, let's get it in as many languages as possible, because, we're not talking small game here. We're talking about like lighting up the world, and lots of the world does speak English, but a lot doesn't always read English.
A lot does not.
So let's get this into as many languages as we can.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on tonight, Deborah. It's great to see you as always.
So good to be with you.
We'll sign off now and see you all soon. Put the link there on the bottom, and I'll put it in the comments as well.